Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? Welcome to another Fallout 76 video, and today we are looking at the fifth and final of the public worlds that will be appearing on the test server ahead of the Fallout Worlds launch on the 8th of September. So let's jump in and take a look at Butcher's Delight. Okay, so before we get started, usual quick disclaimers. Of course, we are on the public test server, so this is unreleased content. Things could still change in the next couple of weeks before the update goes live on the 8th of September. So if you guys would like to avoid seeing any content before it comes out, this is your opportunity to duck out. Of course, there should not be any story spoilers, but if you do want to avoid it, there you go. There's your chance. So let's take a look at Butcher's Delight. So, we do know this is likely to be the last of the public worlds available shortly after launch. There's 5 of them so far, so that's basically bare minimum 5 months worth of public worlds coming up. So, it's likely Bethesda will add more themes in the future to the public worlds rotation, but for launch this will keep them busy for a good few months, and it's certainly going to be easy enough once they've decided on a theme to add new ones. So, that's always cool. I didn't go over the panel they did at QuakeCon on Public Worlds, mostly because there wasn't anything massively new in it. There were a couple of cool reminders about the daily ops changes that are coming with this update as well, so I mentioned those in an older video a while back, so I'll link that up top if you do want to check it out. But yeah, not a vast amount of new stuff on there. One of the interesting things they did say was regarding the lack of progression. One of the reasons they wanted to, for now at the very least, keep it that way and not have progression transfer back to adventure mode is because if something does happen to your character in one of the public worlds, it means you don't lose out when you take it back, you don't end up with any regrets. They also implied that they might change this on down the line as well, and they might allow some progress to come back. I doubt they'll do it for custom worlds, unless possibly they might tie whether or not progress crosses to certain settings. If they can do that, then they might increase the flexibility a little bit more. For example, the good one I like is Nuked Flora. If you basically say that you can't have progression if Nuked Flora is switched on, it means you avoid the pay-to-win thing, but other types of gameplay could carry their progression back. So it might change in future. They hinted that they'll look into it as to whether or not that'll be sooner or later. I'm going to go with later, but it's a possibility, so something to keep an eye out with for the future. But let's have a look at Butcher's Delight. This is going to be a relatively short and sweet one to take a look at. So we've got a very cool icon here. I do like this. This is messy. Very brutal, but yeah, usual conditions on this. 24 players, no progress or account rewards earned. So, we are looking at another public world created by Bethesda. Rip enemies apart without having to worry about AP cost for VATS and melee. So this is mostly a combat change, relatively restricted and small focus for this one, and otherwise it looks much like the game usually does. So, the first change is infinite ammo. So, with this you would have to reload, in fact you do, so worth bearing that in mind, but what doesn't change is your ammo total, so you can spray as much ammo into your enemies as you possibly like, and the amount of bullets you've got on your character basically doesn't decrease, so you can reload an infinite number of times, basically, rather than it being a no reloads type of deal, but that's quite cool. It's kind of fun. When you add to it the VATS and melee AP cost being set to 0, obviously you can just spam the living daylights out of VATS, and it makes it very easy. It's definitely kind of in easy mode, in my opinion, at least as regards combat anyway, so it's fine if you want to do that. It's not really my cup of tea, because there's not much going on beyond making combat a bit easier, so in terms of just jumping in and causing a little havoc, if you're just randomly jumping in with a group of friends where you perhaps might not normally and you just want to be social, something like that, it'd be pretty good for that, because you can just run around, slaughter things, act like complete fools, and not have to worry about it, which is fun, especially when you add in the dismemberment setting, which is bloody mess set to frequent. Not always, but frequent, so a lot of your enemies will be exploding into blood and gore, irrespective of whether or not you've got the perk on, so very cool. But yeah, all in all, quite a simple little change, just kind of fun, which is fine. That's basically the idea behind a video game. But at the same time, it doesn't really do much beyond the base game. So if you want to lark about, slaughter a few enemies, it's kind of fun for that. But simple in its performance, I guess. And therefore, not really one that's all that interesting to me. I think some of the other worlds are a bit more interesting and engaging to look at. Even the quantum world that we looked at last week was, with its different weather effects and the fact that you get nuke zone type enemies, which sort of kind of buffs the difficulty a bit, I suppose, was definitely a bit more fun to my mind. But for those with Fallout First, of course, you can mix and match, pick and choose in different settings as well, and come up with your own variations as well, which is something I might do eventually. So we'll have to look into that. In a sense, the lack of progress doesn't bother me so much in this particular world because it's kind of no different anyway. It's not like you're losing out on any new opportunities that are afforded. I spoke before about the nuked flora thing, and obviously lack of progress means that's kind of pointless to have that on anyway because you can't take it back to adventure mode. But at the same time, having the progression carry over would therefore make it a bit... In a private world, it would make it pay to win. In a public world, not so much because everybody has access to it, so that's where it bothered me a little bit more. But in this case, it's basically the same, just easier combat, so, you know, it's not a big deal. But, yeah, interesting, fun, silly, and not much else to be said about it, I don't think. So, on that note, I do hope you found this little preview of the Butcher's Delight world interesting. If you did, please do consider dropping subs and likes for me. I do very much appreciate it. Social media links, merch store, and channel memberships, as always, down below the video if you want to check those out. It very much helps out, and I hugely appreciate it. And if you get a chance, do join us for the live streams as well. We are carrying on, of course, for Fallout 76, Mass Effect 2, and doing our weekly tabletop stream over on Mad Queen's channel on a Friday as well. So do check those out as well. It's a good time over there. And if you haven't seen it, by the way, there's a new Through the Keyhole up, taking a look at 4 more very, very cool camps that have been sent in by you guys, so definitely worth a look. I'll link that one up in the top left as well, so top left, top right for you guys. So do check that particular video out as well. It's a very cool one. But for now, thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.